Cooking with Plants, and today I'm making quinoa and potato crust pizza with a vegan cheesy sauce that goes over the top. That's ultra delicious, and just a selection of toppings. So I'll show you how to make the crust first. To start with, you're going to need a mixing bowl, and I like to use just a spatula, but I use the back of the spatula to stir all the mixture through. So if you have a wooden spoon, you could use that as well. It just stops it from sticking like it would if you used a wooden spoon. Much easier to mix it. We'll add the dry ingredients first. 2 2/3 cup of quinoa flour, 3 tablespoons of arrowroot. You could also use corn flour, 1 teaspoon of Celtic sea salt, 2 teaspoons of instant yeast, 1 cup of mashed potato. So I've just boiled this and drained the water off it, and I actually kept the starchy water to add as the water for this mixture. So I've just mashed it up, drained it off, mashed it up, didn't add anything to it. So that's going in there. Okay, just before adding the water, just give this a mix through. Probably a good idea to actually mix before you add the potato. I've got a bit ahead of myself here. Yeah, it'll be much easier to mix through first before the potatoes in. Give it a good stir through. Next, you're going to add 1 1/4 cups of the starchy potato water from boiling your potato earlier. This is still lukewarm, so it's going to activate the yeast. If you've got leftover mashed potato in the fridge that you want to use up, just use some warm tap water for this instead of the starchy water, but the starchy water does help to bind it a bit better. Okay, now just start mixing this into a slurry. Just keep mixing till it's all combined and it comes off the edge. Make sure all the flour is mixed in. Okay, so just mix this a little bit and then shape it into a rough ball, and then just cover it with a tea towel for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and preheat your oven to 220 degrees Celsius or about 430 degrees Fahrenheit. And in the meantime, we'll make the cheesy sauce. So for the cheese sauce, you're going to want a blender, and just blending up some very simple ingredients and making a cheese sauce to go over the top, which will resemble melted cheese on the top of the pizza at the end of it all, because what would a pizza be without the cheese on the top? First of all, you're going to want to add 1/4 cup of oats, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 1 large clove of garlic, and 1/2 teaspoon of Celtic sea salt. 1 tablespoon of miso paste. I'm using organic brown rice miso, and 1/2 cup of water. Okay, and that's it, and it's time to blend this up. Probably about a minute or so, just till it's nice and smooth and creamy. Okay, and the sauce is done. Oh, yum, that smells good. Yum, that tastes so good. So I'll be pouring this into just a little squeeze bottle, so I can then put it over the top of the pizza at the end. But if you want this slightly thicker, maybe just add another 1/4 cup of oats, and it will be a much thicker consistency. But I like to just pour mine on at the end, and it tends to thicken up anyway once it's on the pizza. Okay, so we've let our dough rise a little bit. You'll feel it's gone spongy and been activated. So I'm going to try to make 2 pizzas out of this, just because I'm making one for myself and one for my husband for lunch. And I've got a pizza tray lined with some baking paper, non-stick baking paper. So I'm just going to transfer half of this mixture onto there. It's quite a moist dough, but once you spread it out and bake it up in the oven, it'll turn into a nice crispy base. So just spread this out. I'm going to wet my hands, it's just easier to push it down. Okay, so this is the first base ready to go in the oven, and I'm going to cook that for about 10 to 15 minutes just till it's nice and crispy. Then I'll flip it over and put it in for another 5 or 10 minutes, and then it'll be time to put the toppings on just for a quick last oven blast, and we'll finish it off. Okay, this has been in for 10 minutes. Out and flip it over, and then I'll bake it on the other side for about another 5 minutes. Our 5 minutes is up, so we've crisped up the other side a little bit more. Yep, that feels good. So just test it yourself. If you want it a bit browner and crispier, just put it in for another 5 minutes, and then we're ready to put on our toppings. And I like to have this fairly crispy before I put on my toppings, because my toppings, I don't want them in there for a very long time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, just to cook them through a little bit but still keep that fresh flavour. So I've got a selection of toppings here, but you can put whatever you like. So I'm just putting some tomato paste on the base. If you've got mushrooms, pineapple, put it on, artichokes. What else? Grilled vegetables, you could put eggplant on there, pumpkin, potatoes. The options are endless. Okay, I like to put on spinach on the bottom with other toppings over the top, just so it doesn't burn in the oven. It will probably crisp on some of the edges, but yeah, I like to just put it underneath and it won't burn. Or you could even put it on right at the end once your pizza comes out to have it totally fresh. Some salsa here as well that I'm putting on. You can use any jars of pre-made tomato paste or tomato sauces that you like, or if you've made one yourself, even better, put that on. Delicious. Okay, I've also got some Italian mixed herbs that I'm putting on. Just a sprinkle. Put on fresh herbs, other dried herbs. Okay, some char-grilled red peppers. Some jalapeno peppers. Some fresh cherry tomatoes. And this goes back in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes. So this is another base that cooked for 15 minutes on one side and about 10 to 15 minutes on the other, so you can just see it's a little bit crispier. So just depending on how much time you have and how crispy you like your base, just leave it in there a little bit longer before topping. Okay, this has been in for about 7 minutes now, so I'll put on the cheesy sauce and show you the final pizza. Okay, so just get your cheese sauce, and it's just going to get poured over at the end, and I like to go around in a circle, jumbo jumbo, and cut it up and dig in. So if you like today's recipe, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Have a browse through some of my other recipes as well and let me know what you think. If there's anything that you'd like me to make, please let me know in the comments below. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so you don't miss out on any future recipes. And I'm going to have my lunch now. See you next recipe. Yum yum! Yum yum yum!